Hi guys and welcome to CrazyPeppera Revenge. This channel is all about crazy true stories, stuff that happens in real life when things get a little bit messy, people dealing with drama, cheating, lies, breakups, and even revenge. Some stories are wild, some are emotional, but all of them will keep you watching. If you like real talk and real situations, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stick around. This is CrazyPeppera Revenge, where the stories get spicy.
Shame you couldn't finish the job for my cheating wife, loser.
This happened in Aurora, Colorado, and just finished going through the legal system. Still processing everything, but figured Reddit would want to hear this insane story. I'm Braxton, 34, construction supervisor, been married to Delaney for 10 years. I thought we had a good marriage. I worked construction, earned decent money. She handled our finances. We lived in a nice house on Maple Street that I bought with steel-earned money and sweat equity. Normal suburban life, or so I thought. Everything changed on a cold October evening when my neighbor Lois came rushing over. Lois is one of those neighbors who knows everyone's business, but she looked genuinely shaken. "Braxton, I need to tell you something about your house," she said, clutching a cold cup of coffee. "Someone was screaming in there all day. Loud screaming, crying, real disturbing stuff." Sounded like someone was being tortured. I'd been at the construction site for 12 hours. Delaney's car wasn't in the driveway. "You sure it was coming from my place?" "Positive. I was doing laundry and my machine sits right by that window." Sound travels, started around 10 this morning, went on for hours. I thought about calling police, but it stopped around 3. Inside, everything looked normal, but felt wrong. Delaney always left traces when she was home. Coffee mug in sink, magazines scattered, shoes by the door, nothing. The house was too clean, too perfect. Her jewelry box was nearly empty except her wedding rings. The bedroom rug I'd installed perfectly was 6 inches off center. In our guest room, I found something that changed everything. A small black voice recorder under the bed, still warm, red recording light on. It had been recording for 9 hours and 14 minutes. I pressed play and heard my wife's voice. "So good. When he's not here, I can actually breathe." A male voice responded. "Younger than me. How long until he gets home?" "Not until 6. He's working that site in Lakewood today." Then Delaney laughed, but it wasn't the laugh I knew. It was sharper, colder. "We have time." I fast-forwarded through the recording, stopping at random intervals. What I heard destroyed me. Never suspects anything. He comes home, eats dinner, watches TV, goes to bed. Same routine every night. It's like living with a robot. "What about when you leave him?" "When I leave him, you mean?" "And I'll take everything. The house, the savings, his precious truck if I want it." Colorado's a no-fault state, but I've been documenting his emotional misuse for months. Emotional misuse. I'd never raised my voice to her, never threatened her, never done anything but work my A off to give her the life she wanted. Lawyers says if I can prove a pattern of controlling behavior, intimidation, maybe even violence, I can get a restraining order. Then he'll have to leave the house and I can claim I don't feel safe. Property settlement will favor me. You think he'll fight it? Braxton? No way. He's too proud to make a scene. He'll just accept it and walk away. He always does. Then the male voice. What if he doesn't? Then we make sure he doesn't have a choice. They discussed her friend Mackenzie, who'd been through 2 divorces and knows how this works. How men like Braxton are easy to manipulate. Once you know which buttons to push, near the end. Once he's out, everything's mine. The house, the accounts. He won't fight. I know my husband. He thinks fighting is beneath him. Noble Braxton, taking the high road. Her voice turned mocking. He'll probably even wish me well. 9 hours of my wife planning my destruction with another man. 10 years of marriage, and I'd been living with a complete stranger. She texted me. "Working late at the office. Don't wait up. Love you." I deleted the message and went to bed, but I didn't sleep. I planned. Next morning, I followed her instead of going to work. She didn't go to her accounting office downtown. She went to Peak Fitness and met with a personal trainer named Kellen Rhodes. Tall, muscular, tank top showing off his arms, perfect smile. The kind of guy who thinks intelligence is optional if you have good abs. They embraced like lovers, not trainer and client. I went home and played the perfect husband, made coffee for both of us, kissed her forehead goodbye. She smelled like vanilla and lies. But I wasn't going to be Noble Braxton anymore. I was going to be their nightmare. I called my sister Hadley, a trauma nurse who's tough as nails, showed her the evidence. "Son of a witch," she said after hearing the recording. "What do you need? Research? Background checks?" "Someone I can trust." My friend Marcus helped with technology and surveillance. I hired private investigator Jake Sullivan, former cop, discreet, expensive, but worth it. Then Jessica Martinez contacted me. She worked cleaning crew at the gym 3 days a week. "I see things," she said when we met at Denny's. "Your wife and Kellen have been meeting for months." Not just working out, she showed me photos on her phone. Delaney and Kellen kissing in the gym parking lot, entering a motel. Kellen targets married women, rich ones. He gets them to leave their husbands, then disappears. He did the same thing to my sister. She lost everything. "There's something else," Jessica said, looking scared. "Your wife asked Kellen to introduce her to someone, a guy who could help with her situation, the kind that makes problems disappear." That's when I realized this wasn't just about divorce. They were planning something much worse. Delaney suggested I attend a construction conference in Denver, 3 days away from home. "You should go. Take some time for yourself." She was setting me up, giving herself time to advance whatever she was planning. I pretended to go, but checked into a motel near the airport instead. From there, I coordinated surveillance with Jake while monitoring my house through hidden cameras Marcus had installed. The first day, Kellen's Jeep pulled into my driveway. On my laptop, I watched him embrace my wife in our living room. They went upstairs. I didn't need to see what happened next, but I did need to hear what they said afterward. The voice recorder captured everything. "Conference ends Friday. We need to move fast after that. What about the thing we discussed? Mackenzie's friend can handle it, but it has to look natural." "How natural?" "Accident, work site incident, construction's dangerous, people get hurt." My blood turned to ice. They weren't just planning to rob me, they were planning to eliminate me. Insurance policy is for $2 million. Accidental death clause doubles it, $4 million, plus the house, his truck, everything else. We'll be set for life. I saved the recording to multiple devices and uploaded encrypted copies to secure cloud storage. If something happened to me, Hadley had instructions to release everything to police. Research revealed Kellen had done this before. Left California after a married woman's husband ended up hospitalized. Mackenzie was broke, being sued by her ex-husband. And Mackenzie had a brother, Danny Troy, recently released from prison for attack and weapons charges. He worked demolition and knew explosives. Wednesday, a gray sedan with dealer plates visited my house. The driver, average height, thinning hair, forgettable face, met with Delaney briefly. Money changed hands. This had to be Danny. When I returned from Denver, Delaney was suddenly loving again. Romantic dinners, cuddling on the couch, talking about marriage counseling. "Maybe I was too hasty about the separation," she said, all while planning my homicide. Friday evening, Danny showed up at our door pretending to be from Rocky Mountain Demolition. "We're doing work in the neighborhood next week. Wanted to let you know about potential noise and dust issues." He was casing the place, checking sight lines, planning my accident. "We'll be using heavy equipment, possibly some controlled charges," he said, looking directly at me. "Construction's dangerous. People get hurt if they're not careful." The threat was crystal clear. Monday morning, Danny made his move. He called my foreman, claiming to be a safety inspector, said he needed me to personally check crane issues on level 3. Isolated, high up, perfect for an accident. But I was ready. I'd found his explosive charges over the weekend and disarmed them. Police were monitoring everything through the wire I wore. SWAT teams were in position. On level 3, Danny dropped the pretense. "You see, mister? Coin, some people think you're in the way, standing between other people and what they want. And you're here to move me out of the way. For $20,000. His eyes narrowed. "How did you know about that?" "Lucky guess." "Here's the thing, Danny," I said, using his real name. "You're not very good at this. A smart man would have done his homework, found out who he was dealing with." "I know exactly who I'm dealing with. A construction worker who's about to have a very bad accident. Construction supervisor," I corrected. "And former Marine, 2 tours in Middle East. Demolition specialist." His confidence wavered. "You want to know what else you should have found out? That I've been recording every conversation for the past week. That police are listening right now through this wire." That your sister sold you out yesterday in exchange for immunity? I showed him my phone with the recording app running, red light blinking. Say hi to Officer Teague, Danny. He raised the detonator and pressed the trigger. Nothing happened. Looking for these? I held up the detonator caps I'd removed that morning. You really should check your equipment before starting a job. He lunged at me with a knife, but I was expecting it. Used his momentum against him, disarmed him, and watched him run straight into police custody. Phase 2 was arresting Delaney and Kellen at the house. They were there together when SWAT kicked in the doors. During interrogation, they both threw each other under the bus. Delaney claimed I was abusive. Investigators found zero evidence. She said I controlled finances. They found 4 credit cards in her name with $60,000 combined limit. Kellen blamed everything on her, said she seduced and manipulated him. Mackenzie had already flipped, providing recordings in exchange for immunity. Smart woman got out while she could. The trials took 6 months. Evidence was overwhelming. Recordings, photos, financial records, testimony from multiple witnesses. Delaney got 28 years for conspiracy to commit homicide and attempted homicide. Kellen got 15 years as an accomplice. Danny got 35 years for attempted homicide plus his previous crimes. I won the civil lawsuit easily, kept the house, got damages for emotional distress and attempted homicide. Insurance company paid out gladly since they avoided a $4 million death benefit. That was 6 months ago. I've completely renovated the house. New paint, floors, fixtures, same bones, but everything else rebuilt. Like my life. People ask if I'm dating. Not yet. When you discover your wife of 10 years was planning your homicide for insurance money, you take time to process that betrayal. But I'm healing. The hardest part isn't even the betrayal. It's knowing how close they came to succeeding. If my neighbor hadn't heard screaming from an empty house, if I hadn't found that voice recorder, if I hadn't decided to fight back instead of taking the high road like they expected, I'd be dead. Delaney would be a wealthy widow living it up with her boy toy. Sometimes the smallest coincidences save your life. Last week, Delaney's appeal was denied. It's finally over. People say I should be angry, but I'm not. I'm grateful. Grateful to be alive. Grateful for family and friends who had my back. Grateful I learned the truth before it was too late. The house is quiet now. Honest quiet, not the nervous energy of someone living a lie. I sleep peacefully for the first time in years. Tomorrow will bring whatever it brings. I'm ready.